in order to either change my environment or to alter how I move in that environment. All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about why everything is your fault, why you should blame yourself for everything, and why anything that goes wrong for anybody else, including yourself, is your fault. Obviously, I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but basically the topic of today's video is going to be why you should stop blaming the world on your problems and why life is difficult for you and why you can't improve in your life, because that's a big thing that a lot of people can tend to do and a lot of people learn when they are victimized a lot in their own lives and experiences. So I hope you guys enjoy and get a lot of this. Definitely be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy this, but without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So, I want to preface this with saying there are valid reasons at times where you are a victim of things. There's going to be circumstances in life that everyone has that are going to be somewhat debilitating to you. For me, for example, everyone and their mom always has said from a young age, "Oh, everybody has ADD. Oh, I'm a little bit ADD. I'm a little bit ADHD." When in reality, a lot of people really don't know what severe ADHD feels like and the experience and the symptoms of it. Obviously, there's a lot of people who do identify with those things, but there's a lot of people who really just say it, just like how a few years ago, the whole thing about everyone being depressed and anxious became like a whole thing that a lot of people started identifying with. Not that a lot of people aren't anxious and depressed, but it becomes a bit of a trend to be a victim in a way, because when some people that identify with people who are, start to be outspoken about them being a victim of something or them having something in life that's setting them back, and they just want to get their voice out there about how hard it is and everything, and it's empowering to do so, and everyone's like, yeah, and then before you know it, there's a bunch of other people who swarm in who don't really need to be victimizing themselves or do it in a way that is debilitating to them in their own life and causes them to set themselves back and prevents them from moving forward. And I've seen this with a lot of people around me. I've seen this in myself a lot even. And you can make yourself a victim to life and the world and make the world out to get you and make it the world, everything outside me is the reason why I have all these problems and why I can't do better, why I can't improve myself, why it's so hard. But you have to realize it's okay to have things that are going to be, setting you back. It's not always going to be fun. It's not going to be good all the time. Life's not going to be happy and stuff all the time. But you have to realize every single person gets their deal of cards, and the cards that are handed to them are the ones that, they don't get a choice over a lot of times, whether it be you having very traumatic experiences as a child due to your family or whatever. I've had my fair share of all of these different, things that are my personal circumstances, as are you. But you can't let those experiences be the things that define you, because you know what happens when you do that? You become a slave and a victim to circumstance. That's literally like throwing a dice and being like throwing 6 dice at once and being like, okay, let's just hope like all 6 of these land on 1. And then they're all different numbers. Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. They all didn't land on 1? How else am I supposed to get the jackpot? How else am I supposed to win or succeed? All right, I'm just gonna throw these dice again, They didn't all land on what I wanted to? Obviously not. You have so many different variables with things going on in your life, the people around you, where you live, where you grew up, your environment, everything like that all affects you. So you cannot expect a ball to roll down the street and not be affected by the wind or the street or the bumps in the road. Everything that you do is going to be affected by the outside. What you can control is what's within. You can control yourself. You can control within, although it may be difficult in the circumstances in your environment. And the environment may be your own mind. The environment may be your own body. It's difficult. But you can't let those things define your ability to persevere or push through difficulties and try and succeed or improve yourself. For example, one thing with my own mother is she has a lot of autoimmune diseases. She has autoimmune disorders, and it is severe. She has so much chronic pain and issues with her body that she is not able to do. If she tried to do a workout that I did, she would she would certainly end up in the hospital in very poor condition. And the reason is because that's just her set of cards. That's what she was dealt in life. Some of the things that happened in her life caused, these issues to continue to grow and grow into something unfortunate as that. But what would happen if my mom just decided to be like, you know what? I'm always in pain. I can't ever do anything. I don't even want to improve in myself in any way. No, you know what she does? She busts her ass trying to provide for the family, still trying her best to be her own person, to self-improve, do things on her own. And that's how you have to learn to improve. You can't learn to improve in a perfect environment because the world is not a perfect environment. If you expect to be put in these most beautiful circumstances and just flourish, yes, obviously in a vacuum, that's how it's going to work. If you put a plant under the sunlight with the most perfect soil, the perfect amount of water ratio, perfect amount of sunlight, all this, obviously the plant's going to do it better than it would in a crappy environment. But if you blame the world for your problems, you know what's going to end up happening? You're going to get your ass kicked or be a victim to the circumstances in your environment. And if you're doing that, you know what you're doing? You are literally just basing your life off of chance. What do you think happens when you base your life off chance? Like if you go to I'm giving a ton of examples here, but this is literally what it is. If you expect, say hypothetically, I want to self-improve and learn to practice more self-control. Say all your friends around you are severely addicted to freaking drugs, porn, video games, all different kinds of substances. Like they're all addicted to that, and that's all they do when you hang out with them. If you sit here and say, well, I can't self-improve, it's so hard because all my friends do all these things and I just really want to improve, but all the people around me, like, okay, so you're just going to tell me you want to self-improve and you're going to go around all these negative influences constantly and expect that nothing, like, change is going to happen on its own? Like if you are already addicted to all these things? No, that's not how it works. That's idiotic. It doesn't make sense to try and improve in something which requires a goal to be set. It requires work towards intentional effort while also expecting things to happen by chance and circumstance. Like you're not going to get the perfect circumstances to grow. It's extremely unlikely, and even if it does happen, usually it only happens for a little bit at a time. It doesn't happen like your whole life you're going to get perfect circumstances. There's sometimes at some places and some people that get this perfect circumstances of, like, for bodybuilders, they just so happen to get into fitness and they have the perfect genetics, and they happen to get the best sleep and the best diet. They just so happen to, and they flourish because of it, and then use it as a stepping stool to get themselves in their future. You can't expect that. But if those circumstances come to you, then what happens if you're still waiting? More than likely, if you don't have the self-control to take advantage of the difficulty that's around you, if you don't have the ability to take advantage of, trying to, I don't want to say take advantage, but if you don't have the ability to be able to take action, push yourself forward when it's difficult, how do you expect to do that when things are easy? If you do things when they're difficult, you automatically will be able to do things when they're easier because it's just going to be easy. It's going to be second nature. But if you depend on the world to just, everything to just come to you and you be able to succeed and be so amazing and rich and famous and all these things, that's not how it's going to happen. So what you need to do is you need to focus on putting yourself through, like, the ringer mentally with reality, like with facing reality, telling yourself, okay, like I'm going to use myself for an example because this is something that I need to tell myself all the time. Like literally just 30 minutes ago, I had a talk with my girlfriend earlier this morning or last night, and I was talking to her about, I really want to improve in these things, and this is what kind of inspired this video of, like, I have difficulty facing the tough decisions to push me forward, and I just rely on, things to be going well for me and at sometimes in order to, or things to be easy for me, relying on the circumstance of the feeling in order to make tough decisions. And in the last year, I was making a lot of really good effort in doing what's best for me even when it's hard. And this year it's a lot more difficult for me. I feel like it's because I stopped doing that. And, excuse me, Let me get a quick water break. And then literally today, the next day, I get home, and you know what I'm doing? I'm sitting on freaking TikTok and Instagram, just mindlessly scrolling, looking at stuff. You know what I'm doing there? I am setting myself up for failure. And whose fault is that? Mine. That is my fault. I am the one who's putting myself in this environment. Although at times you're not going to be able to control your environment, even, like if the environment is mentally, the environment is your body. If you have a mental illness, that causes it to be really difficult. Okay, if I have depression, what's something that I can do outside of it, even if I can't physically control what's on my mind? Okay, go to a psychiatrist, figure out if there's a medication I can take that will help me. Okay, if my issue is being on social media on my phone, you know what I need to do? Freaking delete the apps on my phone until I need to use them for a specific reason. It's my fault for putting myself in negative circumstances at times. And you don't really want to admit that. You need to put yourself through the ringer at times and learn to tell yourself, okay, I am putting myself through this. I am letting these circumstances dictate my actions. And if you really want to make a change, you need to start to learn how to make yourself be the one who's taking action and not rely on the circumstances to push you to do the action. It's like being on a bike and waiting for the wind to blow you perfectly to start the wheels to turn. It's like, no, what you need to do is start the wheels turning. And if the wind blows you, it pushes you even further, a lot easier, but you're still doing it on your own. But if you never learn to do that, you're just going to keep waiting and keep waiting. Time's going to waste. You're not going to get much done. So basically, you just need to learn to accept when things are going to be difficult and learn to just take action anyway. And you're also going to need to learn to actually think logically and critically. Is this something that I struggle with that I want to get better at? Is that like this thing? Is it something that I can control? If it's not something you can control, you know what you need to do? You need to let it go. Why waste energy? Why waste time worrying and thinking about things that you can't control? Like the other day, I had some kid on Discord, no offense if he ever sees this, literally complaining to me, bro, I think I'm losing motivation to work out. The fact that I don't have wide clavicles, like I'm literally losing, like, bro, you're telling me you're not even a year into lifting and you are thinking about quitting because you don't have wide clavicles? Like, bro, you are literally letting life circumstances dictate what you do. Like, that is the most absurd thing to me. And we all do that to some degree at times. Like, we can just let the fact that something that we don't like that makes things more difficult to help us get to our end goal. Like, you know, I have ADHD. It makes it difficult for me to be focused and to be consistent with things because I'm very impulsive. Like, I can't let that dictate me, or else I'm never going to be able to be successful. I'm never going to be able to let YouTube, my YouTube career get better or anything like that if I just continue to sit on social media and impulsively scroll all day and just hang out and drink and do drugs. Like, no, I have to take control of my life and what is in my control in order to change my environment so that I, am not letting my environment be the thing that dictates my end result and making my environment the thing that dictates how I can take action, but B, taking action regardless in order to either change my environment or to alter how I move in that environment. That doesn't mean that if you have friends that are not ambitious or not successful that you need to just cut them off. You can't be friends with them. You can't hang out with them ever or anything like that. But you have to ask yourself, how am I interacting with this environment? Look at it as two separate entities from an objective standpoint. This is me, this is the environment I'm engaging with, whether it's my mind, whether it's my body and how I physically feel, whether it's the people that are around me, my friends, my family, the environment at the place that I work. How do these two things interact? Am I letting my environment dictate where my where my ambitions lie and like how I'm able to move forward? Or am I the one that's dictating it? Is this environment severely impacting and influencing how I'm able to take control? Then you need to make decisions based on things of that nature. Because if you are in a place that's going to heavily influence your state of mind to the point where it affects your ability to take action and be ambitious and make change, whether it's, if you're on the internet constantly and you have a problem with watching porn, like, dude, you're going to have to get off the internet more, or else what do you think is going to happen? You're going to be a victim to circumstance. You see a picture on there that's a little bit too provocative, and then you know what happens? Your brain starts going down that rabbit hole, and then you start following it, and then boom, you end up right at square one. You have to change your environment if it's going to be heavily affecting and impacting your ability to make change. And if you are also just relying on things to change based on the environment changing itself, you have to know that you're probably going to end up failing, and change is probably not going to happen, and it's just your fault straight up. And I have to admit that to myself sometimes. Like, dude, I used to upload hella videos on YouTube back in like 2017, 2018 on my old channel for gaming or whatever. I can sit here and say that if I continue to do that, there's a good chance I could have had I already had 3,000 subscribers on that channel. I'm not going to use it over again because it's pointless. It was all for gaming or whatever. But for me to sit here and say, oh, it's the environment's fault, or it's the world's fault. No, it's my fault for not changing the environment I was in that may have altered my, my ability to make decisions, and altered my my drive and want to make decisions. But at the end of the day, I can't just sit and focus on that, because what happens if I also just dwell on the past and what I could have done? You're also not going to get anywhere. You're not going to move forward by looking backward, okay? So that's pretty much it. I just really wanted to nail that in, because so many people just expect things to change. They expect to just, like me, my freaking goofy ass. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get better at not cursing, but still, like, I'm over here trying to read more. And you know what I do every time I have free time, just a little bit of downtime? Oh, I just want to relax. Oh, I'm just going to watch a YouTube video. Oh, I'm just going to just chill out and do this or do that, play a game or whatever. And you know what's not going to happen? If I keep doing that, the books are not going to be read. I'm not going to improve in that way. So you need to set yourself up for success, whether that means changing the environment or changing yourself into taking action. And if you realize no matter how hard it is that you try to take action, and you're in this environment that's influencing you, and it's still influencing you into the degree where you can't, attain that goal that you're trying to shoot towards and change, then you might want to completely change the that you're in, the environment that you're in. You may need a severe change. And it could be even such things of like literally getting a complete different haircut and dressing completely different. That literally changed my mental state. I know it sounds goofy, but last year, I literally just shaved my head completely, and I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to start taking better care of myself. I'm going to put myself in a different mental state, and it severely altered my mental state into a good place. I put myself in a place of change. I was like, okay, you know what, I'm not going to be in the same mental environment that my brain subconsciously clings onto when I think of the way that I used to be. I'm going to change the way that I am right now, physically. And when I see that I'm changed physically, I will also start to identify myself with more behavioral changes and mental changes. And you know what? My brain started associating it with those things, and I started to progress. I started to make changes in self-improvement. I started taking more time off my phone, making more steps in moving my social media following moving forward. And overall, changing your environment is going to be the key, especially if you have an issue feeling like you're the victim, or it's like your fault. You're a victim of your circumstances. You can't be a victim of your circumstances, or nothing's ever going to change. I just got to be real with you. You could say, well, hypothetically, there's a chance that if I do, that things might change. Like, okay, but what are the chances out of like all the millions of different combinations of possibilities of different things happening that could happen? It's like 1 in a million. Like, that like what you need to do is accept what you're doing may be self-destructive, what you're doing may be self-sabotaging, and you need to take a step forward in the correct direction and accept that you're the one in the control. The best thing about this is that if you feel that you have been victimized by your environment and the things that are affecting you, you get to think about the fact now that I'm the one making decisions here. The environment was affecting my ability to make decisions, which therefore caused my decisions to be made, causing me to be in the place that I'm at now. But at the end of the day, I'm the one making the decisions. I'm the one that's in control here, not the environment. The environment isn't making the decisions. It may be affecting my ability to do so, but if I change the environment and allow myself full control over me, that allows me to be the one that's in control. I'm in control. I'm not victim to my circumstances or my surroundings. I am in control. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully it was helpful for y'all. Definitely be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe for more. Also, be sure to check out my socials in the description below. And also, they're up here on screen, as well as check retaliationproject.com, as well as getrawnutrition.com. 10% off. Use code monkey. And again, I'm making a Discord so that y'all can interact with me more. So I'm in the process of still making that. It takes me a little bit of time because I do work and make videos and stuff like that and work out on my own. So I have a lot going on. So it takes a while for me to do that, but hopefully this is helpful for y'all. Definitely be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share for more, and I will see y'all in the next video. Have an amazing day.